Lakers lose game 3. Jimmy Butler painted a masterpiece. He painted a Picasso, a Monet, while LeBron James, Anthony Davis were basically painting stick figures. Jimmy Butler had one of the best triple-doubles, if not the best triple-double in finals history, really. 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists on 70% shooting. He got whatever he wanted. He got to the line. The efficiency, which a lot of people are calling for him to be aggressive, and I thought he couldn't be aggressive and be efficient at the same time, but he proved me wrong. And the efficiency that he did it, without Bam being there, without Dragic being there, it was crazy. He basically controlled the tempo of the game. He outplayed LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined. LeBron had 25, Davis had 15 points. Butler had 40 alone, which covered LeBron and AD's output and production. Like I said, a Picasso and Monet on Jimmy Butler's side, and stick figures and finger painting on LeBron's side. This is like small forward numbers for Anthony Davis, 15 points, 5 rebounds. That basically killed his MVP nod. If the Lakers win the series, everybody felt like AD was basically going to get the best numbers, but he disappears. And you saw Charles Barkley ask him this in the Nuggets series. He said, why do some games are you playing well, you're aggressive, and others you're not? I know he got in foul trouble. The Lakers get in foul trouble, but that's not an excuse, because you got to know that that's the Heat's game. All the Heat want to do is get you in foul trouble, slow up the game, muck up the game, then play a zone, which the Lakers acted at times like they didn't know what to do with it because they went from man to zone and basically played a whole lot of man, kind of reverted the zone, which is perfect. This is what Eric Spoelstra should do. Don't give them a steady dot of one or the other. Kind of mix it in. And for some reason, nobody was flashing to the middle when it was a zone, and guys got really timid. And the Heat, you got to give them all the credit. They did what they had to do, and they fought, and they were so resilient, especially when the Lakers kept making a comeback. Guys, you have to understand that for them to be down 2 starters, for them to pull this off, being the underdog, the Lakers know they're the underdog, and they don't even have their second best player in the game. That was remarkable. And the Lakers came out flat. I'm just going to say it. And the Heat had a lot to do with getting them frustrated and everything, but they came out flat. And you saw this in the Denver series, game 3, same kind of style. They came out flat, and Jamal Murray went off. I think he scored 40 that game. Made the Monstars look human, and that was bad. Lakers had 20 turnovers, 12 turnovers in the first half. Anthony Davis had 5 turnovers. LeBron had 8 turnovers. Your primary ball handlers, your guys that you're giving the ball early and often, combined for 13 turnovers, which was absolutely ridiculous. And it wasn't like, for example, like the Heat did anything special. Like Jimmy Butler said, he said, we know what we need to do. Try to control the glass. They got rebounded +6, so they didn't control the glass, all right? They gave up 11 offensive rebounds, but they didn't get back too many putbacks. Lakers were just horrible all over the place. They were horrible offensively, shot 42% from the field. Horrible from the 3, they shot 33% from the 3. And then their defense, they gave up 50% shooting, 70% shooting for Jimmy Butler. So they just came out flat all across the board. And Davis getting foul trouble didn't help. But then when he got in the game, he wasn't aggressive. And he couldn't protect the rim. That was part of the defensive problem. But hey, slide Anthony Davis to the 4 and bring in JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard. Like, Dwight Howard didn't get a lot of minutes. I know he wasn't necessarily good because they were down, but he could help negate some shots at the rim at least. That's key, because Jimmy Butler didn't take a 3 that last night. He didn't take a 3 at all. What killed me as well for the Lakers is this grind out game in the fourth quarter. LeBron and AD did nothing. They did nothing. LeBron went 2 for 5. Freaking Anthony Davis went 0 for 1. Did nothing at all. Like, they were terrible in the fourth quarter, and they basically conceded because the Heat sucked the life out of them, and they grinded them out. And this is what I told you guys: that aberration of 3-point shooting, that first half of game 1, we haven't seen it since, right? 11 3-pointers that first half of game 1. Ever since then, nothing. Danny Green, 0 for 6. Caldwell Pope, 5 points. You can't come in the game and do things like that and think you're gonna win the series if your 3-point shooting is consistently been 30 to 34%. They're not shooting a 3 well at all. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. I don't even think LeBron made a 3 last night. And that goes to show you, like, the Heat got the Lakers playing out of character. And especially Anthony Davis, they gave him different looks. They double teamed him and stuff like that. And you vice versa, you would like to see that on the other end of the Lakers. Jimmy Butler is torturing you. The house is on fire. You know, women and children got to get out. And they just let him go one-on-one, get switched to pick and roll. LeBron didn't guard him, didn't step up. Jimmy Butler kept getting smaller guys on him. And then Kuzma was doing a good job on him, but didn't do anything. And Marcus Morris, this is another thing I want to talk about. Marcus Morris had 19 points. But he has to be a negative on the defensive end. He's fouling a whole heck of a lot. Needless fouls. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. And this is why you can't necessarily be a fanboy of a team. I'm a Lakers fan, but you can't be a fanboy. You got to look at it objectively. When you're looking at all the games since game 1, the Heat have been shooting better than the Lakers. They've been shooting better than the Lakers from 3 and 2, or just as good. So you knew this was going to come. You knew the Lakers were going to come out flat and not have a counter. And this is what happens. You lose the game, and Jimmy Butler outplayed LeBron and AD. As far as AD, you know, he just sealed his fate in terms of trying to get any kind of award or trying to prove that the torch has been passed from him to LeBron, because he came out so flat and didn't do anything defensively, to the point where LeBron, they say like, oh, LeBron played a pretty decent game. No, he did not. He just had the numbers. And this is what kills me about numbers. You can see numbers and say somebody played well, but then when you watch them in the game, you're like, what did I just see? And this is why Anthony Davis is not going to pass LeBron James in terms of if they win, they getting a Finals MVP. And this is why LeBron is not going to pass MJ in terms of being the greatest of all time, because people will go to the numbers and say, LeBron's numbers are this, that, and the third. You watch the games and you're looking at LeBron like, where are you? What are you doing? And that's the point. Numbers don't necessarily tell the whole story. Was the person aggressive enough? I told you, LeBron was 2 for 5 in the fourth quarter. 5 shots in the fourth quarter. That doesn't even sound like him. 1 shot for Anthony Davis in the fourth quarter. That doesn't sound like him. And all that came from was the Heat grinding them out. They grinded them out. They took advantage of the turnovers. And they control the tempo of the game. And that's all because of foul trouble. And that's the thing that Lakers need to understand. You can't get in foul trouble against this group, and you can't shoot a bunch of threes if you're not a three-point shooting team. Every game the Lakers won is because they got in the paint and they attacked. You saw last night, LeBron was tentative. AD was tentative. Rondo, I told you he would regress back to his mean. He's not that great of a three-point shooter. So they can't keep relying on Rondo to bail them out when you have guys like Caldwell Pope and Danny Green who can't make an open shot. Doesn't make any sense. So they need the Heat are in good position. They feel good about themselves. If they can get Bam Adebayo back, oh man, that's like, okay, now we can even the series 2-2. The Lakers, they just disrespect their competition. A lot of times they play down to their competition. They're like, well, Bam's not here, we can mail it in. And this is what happens. You get exposed and all your deficiencies come out. Lack of aggression, lack of energy, all of that came out. Lack of discipline, fouling all the time. It all came out. And this is a good lesson for guys. The talent just doesn't matter if you're not working hard at it. You're not coming out and doing what you need to do. Too many defensive assignments blown. And the Heat didn't do that. They kept their assignments. They forced turnovers. Lakers, they were completely out of their element. This is not like them, but this is a series. That's why I picked the Lakers in 6, because I feel like the Lakers always have these letdowns in the series. Now, what comes next, we'll see. If LeBron comes up aggressive, maybe it hurts AD or vice versa. So key to watch. If Bam Adebayo comes back and Jimmy Butler has all this newfound confidence now, this is a tied series, guys. Hoops Junction, Hoops meets Hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.